Albert Camus, hard drinker, heavy thinker, lady pleaser, and moral teaser. This is the complex personality of author Albert Camus. Born November 7, 1913, Camus would have been 102 years old last week. His life ended in a car crash January 4, 1960, shortly after winning the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1957. As a young man, Albert Camus accelerated in education as well as sports. Active in swimming and soccer, Camus would come under a more watchful eye of his elementary teachers. Taking notice of his gift, Louis Germain would help young Albert receive a scholarship to attend Lycée Preparatory School in 1924. Later, a man named Jean Grenier would be Camus's philosophy teacher and help him to get his first essays published in the Sud, a cultural journal of which he was the editor. Although my reading did not contain proof, I believe Camus saw Germain as a father figure, as much as his personality would allow. This is based on the fact that Albert's father was killed in World War I before his first birthday, and considering the letter that was written to Germain in appreciation when he received the Nobel Prize for Literature at age 43. At 17, Camus would be diagnosed with tuberculosis. He would leave his boyhood home, which he shared with his mother, grandmother, older brother, and uncle, to find better air and plenty of red meat for his lungs. He would reside with another uncle and aunt, and his studies would become interrupted while he recuperated with a plus job in his uncle's meat-cutting business, although it would give him more time for his writing. In 1933, Albert Camus would begin studying at the University of Algiers. His college lifestyle would not sit well with his aunt and uncle, and he would move out to live on his own. Within a year, he became married to Simone Hugh, and a few years later would join the Communist Party. His previous plush life had been lost, and a harder life had come about. His two latter endeavors would prove unsuccessful. Nevertheless, in 1936, he would receive a degree in philosophy, submitting a thesis on Neoplatonism and Christian thought. He now began working in theater, giving little time to his books. Camus tried a little playwriting and was active in political articles. As World War II approached, his being exempt from military because of health reasons gave him a feeling to do something. Work in Algeria became non-existent for him, so he moved to France. In December of 40, after long awaiting a divorce from his first wife, Albert married Francine Fior. It isn't fully understood why he married Francine, but his intimate relations with several other women was hardly altered. There are strong indications that he wrote many different women for advice on his works. Once Germany occupied France, it became difficult for Camus and his wife to return after a visit to Algeria early in 1941. Francine remained in Algeria, and Camus was finally allowed to return to France. His wife and he would be cut off in 1942 by the Allied landing in North Africa. They would not reunite until after the liberation of Paris. Once Albert was reunited with his wife in 1945, Francine became pregnant with twins. For the next 15 years, Camus would slowly become depressed and panic-stricken. Although his writings and successful theater contributions were successful, he had trouble handling the critics. His health would take a downfall as well. Awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1957, he took it as the beginning of the end. Typically, the prize was awarded to an artist toward the end of his career. He felt his masterpiece was yet to come and was pressured to finish it before his death. With some of the Nobel Prize money, Camus bought a small house near the village of Le Marin, so he could finish working alone on his new novel, The First Man. Francine and the children have come to visit for Christmas in 1959. Albert was to return to Paris with them for the beginning of the new year. His friend Michael Guillemard offered to drive him up. On January 4, 1960, they were both killed in a single car accident. Among the wreckage was Camus's briefcase with the beginning pages of his uncompleted masterpiece. When you talk of Albert Camus's works, there are more than novels to consider. His journalism could have actually influenced political maneuvers. His work in the theater wasn't too shabby either.